In this video, I will show you how to put together this delightful donut bag, which is a cute donut gift bag with a gift card holder on the back that you can use it for a birthday or another occasion. It's an SVG file from Simply Crafty SVGs. So here are the pieces to the bag slash really box. I mean, it doesn't close, it just kind of looks like a bag on the front, but it's more like a box. These are the sides. And then we have these pieces will go up there, the panels on the handle. And these are for the bottom. Panels for the front and those. So there's a couple things we can do to prep. Here's the donut that goes on one side. And you could put a donut on the other side if you wanted to. Play around with the colors. But also here's a donut. This is the optional gift card you can put on the other side, which I'm going to do. If it's a little gift card. So we'll start with piecing together this, and then some of the prep work we can do before we put it together. So that includes putting these big panels on there. We can't put the side panels on until afterwards, but so let's go ahead and start with the donuts, and then we'll move to some of the panel work, and I'm going to do some inking. So the big donuts. First, I need you to understand, not to understand, but I need to explain. I put a little cut line, so I did put a little mark there. If you can see there, there's a little cut line there, and there's a cut line there, and that's going to help you line this up. This back piece is just round, so it doesn't matter how it goes, but this does matter how you put it on so the things line up. So you see how that is right there? You want to line that one up there. And then I didn't put ink on the front one, but look for this little indentation just like that. So glue on my fingertips. And it's right here. So you just have to look for the little, it's just a little cut line. It's a teeny cut line, and I think you can see it right there. So we go ahead and line them up. So the way you'll know it's lined up is because you'll be able to see the white sprinkles. So let's go ahead and put those together. So just be careful about not getting the glue anywhere near an opening. Just kind of go around it. So just in case you need to do adjustments, you don't get glue where you don't want to see it. If you wanted to, too, if you didn't just wanted one color sprinkles, you can just omit this one. So you could just do the top, the white one, and the whatever color sprinkle you want. So once we get in place, we want to make sure it's lined up properly. So now I'm going to look for that little cut marks right there. And you'll want to just rotate it once we get glue on the back of it. So that's why we don't want glue too close to the openings. So you could use this one, like I said, and just a solid one, and if you just want one color of sprinkles. But I was going to go for 3, but I decided for just 2. Because it's hard enough to line up. So I have to find that mark again. I'm just going to line, since I know which way it's going, I'm just kind of trying to start lining it up. Since I didn't put glue too close to the edges, I have some wiggle room. And then we'll go ahead and add it to this. So I wanted to give it some little curves to it, but the only way to do that was to try to figure out a way to help you put it on. So it doesn't matter which way it goes. It's a donut. They're imperfectly great, imperfectly wonderful. One of my favorite things. Fortunately, I don't get it all the time. I'm just trying to center it the way I like it. It's fortunate I don't get it all the time. So I should have just inked this little edge, the outside edge of the donut, but that's okay. So this, if you choose to do the gift card holder, this is like easier because you just have these 3 pieces and they line up perfectly. So it's not as hard to line up. We just do that. And before I forget, if you do like this project, I ask you if you could take the time to just like our video and or subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so. And if you hit that little notification bell to the right, you'll be notified when we have new content and new designs. So I am using American Crafts textured cardstock and barely art ink currently. I do like art glitter glue too, so I always say both. I have to adjust slightly between using each one. And the bottle I'm using is the perfect size for my hand. And it comes with those little tips, which is nice. So this is just going to go like this. So just make sure it's not centered, like not aligned there, because it will interfere with the closure of the little gift card holder. Since it's rather simple, I thought we'd just go ahead and put this together. So you can go ahead and wrap it around like that, or glue it together like that. So I think I'm going to glue it on the inside. The inside, the only reason I would say on the outside, let's just change that because I don't want people getting frustrated. When you put it on the inside, just to be aware, you have to be careful because you have to make sure it's glued flat. You can see like that. Because otherwise, when you put a gift card in, it could go underneath there if you don't do it flat. So you can kind of fold it around the back. It gets a little tight doing the back, but so it works either way. But that's the reason why some people may have difficulty putting it inside. But it's not like I've never made a gift card holder like that before. So this won't show because it'll be glue against the back of it. So there you have this. So that'll fit in there. So there's a little slot so you can see it. Then we can flip this over. Place this in there. Line that edge up here to the fold, just like that. Then when you put the card in, I made it kind of simple, but it is hard to close. I mean, it's not like completely difficult to close, but kind of have to curl it into that little area right there. So I wanted to make it super simple so you didn't have to like add anything extra to it. So made that kind of closure. So we'll put that aside and we'll go ahead and work on, let's see, the panels. So I'm going to take those off. We're going to take these. So I inked these already and we'll have to put these on later. I already inked these. So I'm going to show you what I mean by ink. I just inked the edges. And I did ink this one. I'm going to ink this one right now. Let me close my glue while I'm doing this. I'm I'm going to go ahead and put this aside too. So I'm going to take these, put these aside so we can use put these on those. These on those, this is a technical term, these and those. So I was using picked raspberry for this one, and I always have a little piece of paper because I don't have the greatest surface. So anyways, it's just the way I contain my ink. And I use these little finger brushes, which I like. And just to go around the edges. It takes a little practice. Sometimes I don't get it right and I get a little bit too much ink, like right here, right there. But I always test it on, I always test my ink colors on a spare piece first to make sure that's what I want. And it's just giving me just a little bit of an edge. I did print this paper. Really hard. It's a really old digital file that I had. But I wanted to go with the pink theme, and I really didn't want to take away from even though I had some donut paper, it just wasn't the right colors for me. So I was just thinking something fun, like swirls. Swirls are one of my favorite fun items. So that's it. And if you're wondering, these are from iCrafter. So there's 10 of them. They come like this. And they're stackable, and they're nice. I just lost my voice for a minute. Got that frog going on. So now I'm going to put this aside. And we can center this. So this is a panel that'll go on after we add the sides. Everything's easier when it's flat. So this bottom edge is going to line up at the bottom. So if you lined it up properly, it should have a nice little edge. So we're not going to put anything else but this on there for now, because it will be too hard to put it on in the box. But this is flat. Oh, I did the wrong side. Oh, blooper. Well, fortunately, we didn't ruin anything because that's going to be glued eventually. So let's go ahead and put the right thing on. That's what happens. I'm not paying attention. I am paying attention, but sometimes it happens. I drifted while I was talking. It's amazing that I can actually talk and craft at the same time, actually. So, again, I'm just lining it up at the bottom, that flat part. And it's going to be a little sticky because I've got glue on the other side. I'll put that on the bottom so I don't get glue on the other one. But it is a panel, so it's not a big deal. So the other two things I want to put on are the this little panel, the handle panel. So this will go like this eventually once we get it together. Then that will cover like that. So it looks funny. It'll look funny now, but it's just easier to put it on now. So I need to make sure it's centered though. So I'm going to make sure it's centered and it's lined up with the scallops at the top, because we need it to drop down below here so we can hide it with that other panels. We'll put this on and then we will go ahead and put the bag together. So now we have the sides. And we don't want to put the panels on it yet just because it's going to be curved. So we want to make sure that doesn't hinder with us adding this, putting it together. So I'm just going to curl it with my hands. You could also use a bone folder, something like that. Or a round utensil. I'm just trying not to make any indentations and make it a nice curved piece of paper. I'm going to fold that. This just helps us to get the curve started so when we glue it on, it's easier to glue on. So where this tab is at the bottom of the box. So that's where I would start. So you want to take one side. It doesn't matter which side first. We want to make sure this tab's at the bottom. And we're going to go ahead and glue this to the side. So it's going to be glued like that. So the way I would do that is to add glue to a couple of these tabs. I'm going to do 3. You can do 2 or 3. And this is the outside. We want to glue it to the outside because we'll have the big panel to hide it. So I'm going to line this first one up, and you can see see where that tab fold is? I'm going to start there. See that? And I'm just kind of pushing in to get it stuck in place. I'll show you the other side in just a minute. So obviously you want to pre-fold these and specify that, but you can see that. So those are those 3. So to finish it, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this up like this. I'm going to add glue to the rest of these. And with most circular items, this is a good technique to use. There's a bunch of little tabs and will help bend around a curve, so you don't have to have that polygonal look that you see on a lot of my designs. It's just requires a little bit more precision at times, but this one is this type of project is a little forgiving. So I'm going to go this way. Actually, I can go this way. Start where I started, and then I'm just going to push in, go underneath, and they're pushing in as we make sure that those tabs are underneath. And again, we're gluing on the front, but we want to get it as tight as possible. We want that edge to align into the tab folds, the inside tab fold. If it's off a little bit, what will happen, it's not major, but what will happen is the top panel may not cover these edges. So that's what happens. So you can see I was a little bit off on that last one. And I could pull it up again, but I'm afraid I might break it. So let's see if I can get it up without. Sometimes you can do little things like this. I don't like to do it, but so what I'm trying to do is getting closer, and I've compromised the strength of it, but what I'm doing is just pushing this closer to the edge there. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'll show you one more time. I'll do the other side. I'm not going to bore you with watching it again, but it's the same procedure. The key is getting the first couple. So I'm just going to do 2 this time. So I have glue on 2 of them. So make sure you're gluing the tabs where this handle panel is on the outside. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just trying to line up so these line up where the score line is in line with this score line. And once I feel like it's in the right place, apply pressure so I can get it anchored there. So be careful, you could tear them off. So I'm going to pull them up, add glue on each of these tabs. Like you theoretically could add glue to a certain point up here too, like here in this area. But that way sometimes I get a lot more glue on my fingers, and it doesn't work as well as putting them on the tabs for me personally. So let's see if I can get this wrapped around without getting that last one away, so I can get it closer. So if we get any glue on here, it's okay because we have a panel, but if you try not to get it there, that's what. So I'm going to go from this angle. So I'm pushing it in, and then I'm just pushing it, applying pressure down as I go around. I'm going to make sure I get that last tab in this time. So there it is. So we'll go ahead and put the other side on. You can watch it or forward through this next section, but I'm not going to be talking. So I'm going to put the rest of it on now. So as you can see, I have the other side done. So I don't know if you didn't watch it, lining it up, you can still line it up from the outside, but it's hard for me to show you how I line it up. So it's the same, it's just a matter of you can't view it. So there's no point in really showing it that much. So now we want to go ahead and put these panels on. So I'm going to decide to put that there. So you see how that's going to cover up those tabs. So that's why you want to get them as close as possible to the edge. But just to make sure to clean up the edges just a little bit, I'm going to go like this. I'm just throwing a little bit of color there. And so what that'll do is if I add it to this, it takes some practice getting this to work like this. I've gotten used to it, but let me go ahead and I'll add each one. So I'll show you how to add them. Oh, so this is the one with glue already on it, dried glue. That was my blooper. I'm going to add that glue to that, but I'm also going to go a little closer here to the edge. Oops, not the side. I didn't add quite enough glue, I think. I'm going to get it lined up at the bottom and the sides. Then because we still have it open, I'd go through the big open end. Once you get it lined up, apply a good pressure around the edges. especially where those tabs are, because that's where you're going to get the gaps if you get any gaps. So I'll put a little bit more glue on the next side. I tend to just throw my glue bottles on the side. So I got actually closer than I thought I would, which is good. So I hit all those tabs. So we'll do the other side too. I'm going to put that on, and then we'll go ahead and put on the gift card holder and the donut. So that's surprisingly sturdy. Little box. Just already without even the bottom on. So we actually need to put these on first. It's easier for us to put it on before we put this bottom piece on. So what I would suggest is, see how that folds? You want it to line up there, but you want to have the distance. There's going to be an edge on either side and then on top. So line it up at the bottom just like we lined that front to the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead, and you could just add glue to the top and bottom. I'm just going to do a little bit to adhere it. Be careful with the glue. Let's see, line. I'm going to make sure I'm centered here before I settle it down. So it's not going to line up at the top. There's going to be a little rounded edge. Oh, that's the other thing I didn't mention. The rounded corners go at the top. Sharp corners at the bottom. Then you can reach in and rub the panels to get them adhered. Let's see if I can center this one a little bit better. So it does help to curl them a little bit. I'll just use my bone folder. If it's a thinner paper, it's easier. So with the sharp corners, start at the bottom. Got that glue a little bit close to the edge. Going to center it. And then you'll see the gap at the top. So and then we're almost there. It really is not horrible. It's just paying attention to the curves. Doing curved boxes is always a challenge. It's mostly the challenge of putting that on, but it's really not that bad once you get used to them. So then we're going to put the bottom on. And the reason I pulled them out is so I could add glue to all these. You could anchor it, but you don't really need to. So I'm adding glue on the insides of these to put an inside. I want to put a panel inside. I didn't complete my sentence, which is like typical of me actually. Okay, so let me flip that in. I'm just going to drop this in there. So I'm going to put the non-textured side down. Trying to get this. So you just want to make sure that it fits down there, the edges align. Took me a second to get it in the space so you can see that's where it fits. We have a teeny weeny gap at the bottom. But we're going to add one on the bottom too, so you can do that as well. Or use like something like a bone folder to apply pressure. So then we're just going to go ahead and cover these. So this also strengthens the box, having those two panels, one on the inside and one on the outside. So I know this is a donut box, but you know, you could do a lot of things. You could add some flower on the flowers on the front. That's immediately what came to mind. But you could really add anything if you think about it. You could put birthday paper, make it a different type of birthday box, like it could be have a present or birthday cake image or cupcake or whatever, or even for little kids, you can make this a little kid box. This would be kind of a cool little girl's birthday box with maybe a Disney character and some corresponding paper. Just a thought. That's kind of what I was thinking of all of a sudden. So we're going to go ahead and put that on one side. So I'm just going to decide which one's the front side. I think they both look about equally the same. I'm going to pick this side. I have a little gap down there. Let's see if I have less of a gap. So I'm going to put that, I'm going to pop it up. So I'm going to put some foam tape on it. But let's go ahead and put this on. Then I'll get some foam tape for the donut. I didn't have that out. So I want to get this pretty straight and somewhat in the center. So once I get it where I want, which I'm sure it's not straight, close enough I think, I'm just going to flip it over and apply pressure. And you could put some really strong double-sided, you could use double-sided tape to do that too. I'm just going to close it. So I'm being honest with you, this is not the easiest closure. So it was hard to get it in there. This will go down just a little further than what you see it here. I mean, it's not going to be noticeable to your eyes, but since I haven't, I just finished the file, I'm just going to make this opening. So you just flip it in. It was doable, but it just needs to go down probably like a 0.05 inches or something. So then the last thing we need to do is add the donut. So I'm just going to try to center it. So it's going to have less gap on the bottom because it's not a full circle. So try to center it using the top and the sides. Whatever looks good to you, I suppose. And that's it. And you could even embellish this. I felt like, I know this doesn't really close, but it's kind of fun like that. I mean, it's a bag, but it's just not, it's like a box bag. It doesn't bend. But it reminds me of one of the, kind of like the round purses. It's just something, just thought was fun. I like round. I just not fond of sometimes putting them together. But I hope you like this project. If you do, again, please give me a like on the video. And I thank you so much for watching.